Look at your books on page 42. As usual, here we have, the goals of our lesson. We're going to, read the story and make some notes about, the story as usual. Then we are going to identify some new vocabulary. To write a story using, the chart for writing a story. Okay. Now, carry the question. Yes, President.
Have you ever found that?
Good. Have you ever found a treasure? I think no. We carry the second question. Abdullah?
Have you ever watched a movie about finding treasure?
Good. Have you ever watched a movie about finding a treasure? Yes, most of us, I think, have watched, films or have read, novels about, finding treasures. Now, what do you think the picture is? What do you think the picture is? Sultan? Huh? Good. Dishes. Old dishes. And some of them, what? Broken dishes. What can you see? Good. It is what? An octopus. Here? Broken bowls or plates. Spoon. Dishes. Yes. And broken dishes. Can you know? Okay. Now what about the third picture? Ghaith? Ghaith?
Yes, mister.
What do we have in the third picture?
A ship.
Yes. It is what?
Yacht.
Good. It is, a drone ship or, rig ship. Okay, now look at your books on page 4. Here we have a story. Okay. We are going to read it. And we are going to ask you questions about the story. Now, what do you think, the story will be about, or what kind of a story is it? What kind of lesson is it? Good. Now, what else? Adventurous, maybe. Who carried the title? Who carried the title? Basil.
Yes, mister.
Read the title, please.
Keeper of hidden treasure, yes.
Good. Keeper of hidden treasure.
Keeper of hidden treasure. This is not a fairy tale.
Yes. No. We're going to read now. How many photos are there? How many photos are there? One photo here. Now, what do you think? If I ask you about the keeper, what is a keeper? The one who what? Keeps something, protects something. Yes, good. keeper. Now, what do you think, the treasure might be? Yes, Ahmed Sliman. What the treasure might be? Ahmed Adel. Ahmed Alayan. What do you think, the treasure will be or might be?
Like a destroyed ship.
Good. It might be what? Gold, coins, money, maybe expensive things. We don't know, but just we expect that the treasure will be what? Jewelries, for example, or diamonds. Now, where the treasure might be hidden? Under the sea. Good. In the shipwrecked. In the shipwrecked. Okay. Now we are going to listen, then we will ask you to read. Look at your books on page 42. Listen.
Page 42. 10. Writing. Keeper of hidden treasure. This is not a fairy tale, nor a scary story. It is the story of the discovery of 900-year-old treasure off the Korean shore. A fisherman caught an octopus that had bits of blue pottery attached to its tentacles. At first, he thought they were shells. He caught more octopus, and they all had shards attached to their tentacles. Finally, he brought up an octopus that had a whole plate caught on its tentacles. That was when he realized that he had made an important discovery. He had heard about shipwrecks with ancient pottery in the area, so he contacted the museum as soon as he got back. An urgent underwater exploration led to the discovery of 30 perfect examples of 12th century bowls, thanks to the octopus family.
Okay, listen again.
Page 42. 10. Writing. Keeper of hidden treasure. This is not a fairy tale, nor a scary story. It is the story of the discovery of 900-year-old treasure off the Korean shore. A fisherman caught an octopus that had bits of blue pottery attached to its tentacles. At first, he thought they were shells. He caught more octopus, and they all had shards attached to their tentacles. Finally, he brought up an octopus that had a whole plate caught on its tentacles. That was when he realized that he had made an important discovery. He had heard about shipwrecks with ancient pottery in the area, so he contacted the museum as soon as he got back. An urgent underwater exploration led to the discovery of 30 perfect examples of 12th century bowls, thanks to the octopus family.
Okay. Now, who wants to read? Khalid Ataibi.
Yes,
Khalid,
Mr.
Go ahead. Read the story about the keeper of hidden treasure.
Okay, Mr. Keeper of hidden treasure. This is not a fairy tale, nor a scary story. It is the story of the discovery of 900-year-old treasure of the Korean shore. A fisherman caught an octopus that had bits of blue pottery attached to its tentacles. At first, he thought they were shells. He caught more octopus, octopus, and they all had shards attached to their tentacles. Finally, he brought up an octopus that had a whole plate coat on its tentacles. That was when he realized that he had made an important discovery. He had heard about shipwrecks with ancient pottery in the area, so he contacted the museum as soon as he got back. An urgent underwater explosion led to the discovery of 30 perfect examples of 12th century bowls, thanks to the octopus family.
Good. Who wants to read it here? Abdullah?
This is not a fairy tale, nor a scary story. It is the story of the discovery of 900-year-old treasure of the Korean shore. A fisherman caught an octopus that had bits of blue pottery attached to its tentacles. At first he thought they were shells. He caught more octopus and they all had shards attached to their tentacles. Finally, he brought up an octopus that had a whole plate caught on its tentacles. That look he realized that he needed an important discovery. He had heard about shipwrecks in ancient pottery in the area. So he contacted the museum as soon as he got back. An urgent underwater exploration led to the discovery of 30 perfect examples of 12th century boats. Thanks to the
Good. How many paragraphs are there? Four. You realize that the keeper was what was the keeper of the treasure? The octopus. The octopus was, the keeper of the treasure. Now, what was the treasure? Yes. What was the treasure according to the Ghaith? What was the treasure?
The treasure was
30.
30 examples of 12th century bowls, thanks to the octopus family.
30 bowls, dishes. Good. Okay, now move to the chart. Here we have questions in your chart. We're going to read them and answer them according to the story. Okay, we have a chart with questions about this. Okay, the first question, the name. Who found the treasure according to the story? Who found the treasure? The octopus was the keeper. Yes. Abdullah? Yes, a fisherman. Good. A fisherman, a Korean fisherman. A Korean fisherman found the treasure. But the keeper was the octopus. What about the second question? Yes, right.
Mr. The plural of the word octopus is octopus, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. What about the second question? Izzuddin?
Can I ask?
the option.
Good. What else? Where did he find it? Yes. Near the Korean shore. In Arik ship. Okay, now what about the third question? Yes, Ghaith.
Okay. How did he find it? He found it by noticing that several octopus he caught had sharps attached to them.
Good. He coated an octopus with the blue shards attacked to its tentacles. You know, the tentacles, you know, let us say the hands of the octopus, the arms of the مخالب, you know. He caught another octopus with the whole plate. The next question. Sultan. Good. Good. 30 years balls.
اسمع اسمه يرد عليا يا ولاد. سلطان اشرف. وين؟ سلطان. عبد الله محمد عبد الله العريفي. سود. مهند سعود. فيصل. عبد الله خالد. خالد نزار. عز الدين. عبد المجيد محمد.
موجود اونلاين. موجود اونلاين. دقيقة.
مشاري. معا. عبد الله القرني. ابراهيم ياسر. محمد جاد احمد غمام.
Just one. You can choose one of them.
حد جالس ما سمع اسمه.
Okay, about, you know, the question, what was the treasure? You know, the treasure was, you know, 30 perfect, you know, 12th century bowls or dishes or plates. You know, the next question. What about the last question? What did he do with it? What did he do with the treasure? According to the paragraph.
Can I answer the last question, mister?
Go ahead.
What did he do with it? He contacted the museum so it can collect it and put it there.
Good. Yes.
Showcase it.
At the museum, or he reported it to the museum, the authorities. Now, if you finish, move to the next page. if you finish, move to the next page, page 43. You must okay. Now here, look at your books on page 43. Okay, read the explanation. Read Abdullah. Think of a story.
Think of a story about hidden treasure that you have read or heard. Make notes in the chart below and then use your notes to write a story.
Good. So here we are going, to brainstorm as usual, to think about, something that you found or read about, a treasure. Why did he hide it? Here we have the questions. We are going to answer them. With these answers, we can write, a story or start writing a story. Look here, we have some examples. Again, you can write your own words. That's up to you. Why did he hide it? To keep it for himself. Who did it? You can choose, a farmer, a driver, etc. Guard. Where was it hidden? Maybe, under the tree, behind the house, What was the treasure? A box of gold and, silver. Yes, who found it? A friend of him, for example.
شباب من اللي جابوا لي شو كذا ذاك العشاء اللي جابوا لي شو كان شباب التحديد
Who found it? Page 43. His wife. His friend. How did he find it? Or how did, his wife found it? She was digging near the tree. What did she do with it? Gave it to the authority, to the government, to the police.
وين يا شباب؟ عاسين شباب يقول لي 1 اكتوبر كان فالتاريخ 10 اكتوبر يعني 11 10 12 10 مفهوم؟
So with these sentences, we can start writing a story. Again, you have to write more than these sentences. Just, these are the beginning. Or let us say the main ideas about, the story that you are going to write. Just, this is the idea, and you can continue. You can write your own story. Have you written, Shari? Have it? Now, if you finish, move to the writing, corner. Move to the writing corner. When you write a story, you need to think about these points. Here we have some points you have taken your consideration. If you want to write a story. Look here, when you write a story, you need to think about, number one, carry the first point, as a thing.
Your audience, who is reading your.
Good. When we talk about the audience, means the ones who read or listen to your story. Audience. You have to think about them. Who will be your audience? Old people, young people, children, etc. So you have to take this point in your consideration when you write a story. Now, what about the second point? Ghaith, read the second point about the people, characters. Ghaith? Yes, Faisal. Good. Now, if you want to write a story, also you have to choose your characters carefully. Who are they? What do they look like? Their characters. What kind of person are they? Number 3. Yes. Azzuddin.
Again, our places where places started.
Good. Even here you have to take in your consideration the setting. Setting, and the story means the place and the time. So the place or places where events take place. Number 4. Yes. Number 4, Ahmad Sliman. Fahad. Read number 4. Point number 4, the events.
Me, teacher.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
Read.
Okay, where is the teacher?
Number 4.
Number 4.
Here, the events.
The events plot what happens in your story. Use
Use-
past verb forms.
Good. Now, if you want to talk about, the plot. The plot means, the story itself, the events which happen in the story. The plot. What about the next, Abdullah?
The time things happen.
Good. About, the second part of the setting is the time. When we take in our consideration the setting means the place and the time. So the time things happened, yes?
Which year is your story set in? What time of day is it? Which season is it? Use past time.
Good. So you have to talk about, let us say the time of the story. About the year, about the time, etc. The season. Also, you have to use the simple past tense. Sultan. Good. The order of the events, what happened first, second. In other words, you have to what? Take in your consideration the coherence of the story. The series of the events must be what followed by each other. Number next here, the order of the events. Next, yeah.
The beginning and end of the story, how will you story, how will you end your
Good. As readers here, we have to notice, or they realize the beginning of the story and the end of the story. So you have to be careful with the beginning and the end of the story. Number 1 and 2, yes.
What do you think
Causes a reaction,
reason?
surprise, suspense. Yes, in your story, you have to what? You have to think carefully with the causes of the reactions. Reactions like, surprise, scary, suspense, etc. The last time.
what was your reaction to the story?
About, the previous story, what was your reaction? Not suspense, good. Surprise was good. Okay, now go to your workbook. Here are the stages of the writing as usual. We have the pre-writing, planning, drafting, revision, and editing, just to look for your mistakes. And the last point is what? Publishing. Okay, go to your workbook on page 102. 102. Open your book on page 102. Yes, exercise F. Exercise F. No, we didn't. Okay, so find out. What about you answer the questions using the future progressive? You remember when we talked about the future progressive using will be plus verb ing, or be going to plus be plus what verb ing form. Yes, number 1. Number 1. Who wants to read? Sattam.
Can I, Mr.?
What will you be doing next week? Here, here we have different answers. Good question. I will be, for example, what?
I will be swimming.
I will be swimming with my friends. Here we have, I will be studying. I will be writing a report for a class next. I will be visiting my relatives. So we have right here, page 152. Yeah.
What will you be doing?
Good. What will you be doing this summer? I will be visiting my relatives and, in Jordan, etc. I will be, for example, taking a course, English course. Here we have an example. I will be visiting some relatives in Australia this summer. These sentences, depend on you. That's up to you. You can write your own words. Next. We can read the next question. Guys, Okay, read the third question. 102.
What are you going to be in 5 years? I'm going to be working for Amazon.
Good. I'm going to be studying, in the university or in college. Good. So here we have different answers. I'm going to be studying in college in 5 years. Number 4, like your sentence, right? Yes.
What are you doing? What are you going to be in 10 years?
What are you going to be in 10 years? What are you going to be doing in 10 years? I'm going to be what? Working. Good. As a doctor, as a teacher, as, a programmer. I'm going to be working as a biologist in 10 years. Now, if you finish, move to the next exercise, exercise G. Here we are going to look at the photos or pictures. We are going to answer the questions. Also, we are going to use the future progressive, okay? Will be plus verb ing or be going to plus be plus ing form. Who can read the example? Be careful, we have to look at the pictures in order to answer the questions. Who can read the example? Yes. Abdurrahman, read the example.
Will Dana still be reading that novel next week?
Abdurrahman, read the example. Not number 1. Is your little brother going?
Is your little brother going to be playing video games with us?
The answer, look at the picture.
No, he isn't.
What is he?
He's going to be getting a haircut.
Good, thank you. Number 1. Number 1. Ahmed Alayan.
Yes.
Okay, Ahmed. Read number 1. Read the first question.
Okay.
What
Will Dana still
yes,
reading?
Diana still be reading that novel next week?
Yes.
Yes, she will. Good.
She will.
Yes, she will. We ask with will, so we have to answer with will. According to the picture, yes, she will be, reading that novel. Number 2. So, yeah. Sultan?
Will be seeing images of reflection. If they want.
Good. Look at the picture. Will they be seeing any wheels in their vacation? Yes. Yes, they will. Number 3. Look at picture number 3. Azadin.
Are we going to be driving as a main?
No. No, they aren't. Or no, we aren't. We are going to be what? Flying in a plane. We are going to be flying in a plane. Number 4. That is the question. Abdullah?
Are Khalid and his wife going to be taking the high-speed train?
Yes. Yes, they are. Now, what about the last question? You can read. Not.
Will you be playing video games tomorrow? No, I won't.
No, I will not. I will be launching my rocket tomorrow. Good.